Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I have my own Tri-Brigade deck profile. A lot of people wanted to see my pure build of the deck, and I decided, why not? So here we are, we're showing it off, and also I'm going to be talking about certain stuff in the video, so I would definitely suggest just watching the video and not just like screenshotting and dipping. I mean, if you want to do that, fair enough, at least leave a like on the video before you leave, and let's hop in. So first of all, I already know there's going to be people, oh, grinder, monsters, spells, and traps is how you organize a deck. Wrong. Opposite. That's not good. I don't like doing that. I like organizing my deck by what the cards are actually supposed to do, and like their positions. So we have 3 Cat, 3 Fraxhol, 3 Tanky, and 3 Prosperity. So these 9 cards are all starters, and then these 3 are pseudo starters. Now, really, I could have Chaz up before the Kit and Nerval. I just like put all the Tri-Brigade names next to each other, like besides Fractal because this one's a starter. These ones are all like to draw. Like I guess I can move this. Yeah, go ahead, move that. So yeah, these are starter, or these are extenders, semi starters, I guess, because like you can like discard these and like play with this. And then like, you know, 3 Kit, 3 Nerval. I see some people bumping down a Kit or a Nerval, but I really like having all the names. It actually comes up a decent amount to where I need like all these names. Chaz, I've never actually needed the 3rd one. I understand that a lot of people are playing 3 just because it's an extender, which I understand that. But when people start saying the argument like I need another Chaz name, I don't agree with that. It just doesn't come up for me. If you're playing Desires, I could see how that comes up. But in this build, with Prosperity, I don't think it's actually came up one time. And like, I played this deck a lot. And it just doesn't come up. So moving on to the next thing, 3 Revo. I see some people dumping this card down to 2. I really like playing 3. If you don't have to like go for a Bear Bloom play to go grab this, and you can summon something else, and this also lets you play through hand traps a little bit better, because like if you get hand trapped, you can kind of just like set Revolt Pass, and then that gets you back to your engine while also being an interruption. If it's not an interruption because you only saw 3, then you get to bring out Silver, which can possibly get you back more to your engine. You know, you can have Nerval go Search, and you get like something back at end phase off the Silver. And then a Called By and an Order. So Called By, I feel like this card is pretty good. You know, it's a trap card going first, or it can stop a hand trap. And then going second, it really depends what you're playing against, if it's good or not going second. It can still hit a hand trap, obviously. It still can be a trap card, but it can also stop stuff like Bow Wow, Orange Light. I really like this card. And then Order. So the reason why I'm playing this is because it's the 1-0 blowout. You know, you're playing Prosperity. You can go ahead banish 6 if you already have your engine. You hit Order. It's really hard to lose, but also because this card's very strong and DB rated, there's this thing called Mystic Mine, and you know you want to have an out to it in your deck. You don't want to just auto lose to it. So Order is very good versus that. And then onto the hand traps: 3 Gamma, 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, and a Crow. So you know, there's not a lot of hand traps, but it is 13. You know, there are people playing more. I've thought about playing stuff like Phantasmate, but that kind of doesn't work with the Gamma and Imperm. Like, if you draw into those, then they're just not hand traps in that kind of situation. You have to use them next turn, and that's only if Phantasmate does get outed. In the mirror match, Phantasmate does work in that situation, like if you draw a Gamma or an Imperm, because you can just like Phantasmate, try to crash with Appaloosa, and they Revolt, Omen, banish Phantasmate, and then you can just like Imperm or Gamma the Appaloosa effect. But I feel like, you know, you're not just playing against like the mirror match. There's a lot of other decks that you're playing against. Also, I've considered cutting 1 Veiler for 1 Bell. You know, I'd be like, why would you do that? You know, why would you cut a 3 up to put a 1 Veiler in, like, or 1 Bell in? It doesn't make sense, Grinder. It doesn't look good. But it's just because it would make a little bit more sense with like the percentages and like of opening up a card that is good versus like the Prank Kids deck, because you know Valor is not so good. Because right now, not considering Called By, if we don't consider Called By, there's 3 Gamma, 3 Ash, and a Crow. If we do consider Called By, then there's 8. Again, it's iffy. This card's very iffy. It's actually good or not, and this card is very decent. It's not like, oh, you use this and they have to have an extender because they're already playing if you Crow them. So I'm thinking about playing a Bell. Card's pretty good, but again, that also consider, like, it depends on how the format moves. Bell is also pretty decent in the mirror match. It's not super good. Valor's obviously better in the mirror, but again, depending on how the format is shaping, which I feel like after the YCS, we will really know how the format has like actually shaped. Right now, we are seeing Prank Kids being played a lot more. Even I'm about to start playing that deck. I want to start testing that deck out because I think the deck's pretty good. Like, in theory, the deck's actually just like better than this deck. And then like the one Crow because of Omen. If Omen couldn't search this card, I just would not play it, even though it is a wing beast, which helps out a lot because you can use it as like a hand trap and then use it as like a banish fodder or use it as like a discard fodder. And then Driver, Brick, these are like the bricks. Pepperoni isn't necessarily always a brick. You can discard it for Karaz, which is something cool. But I have recently just put this card back in my deck. I want to start testing it out again because I did cut it for a while. But in reality, whatever that card spot is, I'm rarely ever seeing that card because it's going to be a 1 of in a 40 card deck. I do have 6 cards in my opening hand because, you know, I have 5 and then Blossom Draw, or I have Prosperity. So I do see more cards than the typical deck does, but like that spot usually is just not being drawn. And if I did have to change that spot out, it would either be a Bell. Actually, you know what? I'll like pull the cards up because I am just on DB right now. I'll even like move that. I'll just like put all these cards here so we can like see them. Man, I don't even know that one card's name. I know this card's name.
Okay, you can see that's the sauce.
This is another one. This card's not that crazy. It was pretty good in testing. I don't even know if it's a dragon or not. This card. There we go. Yeah, it is a dragon. Alright, wasn't 100% sure, but yeah, so if I had to cut this card, most likely it would end up being cut for one of these, or potentially the third Kuraz, but I don't like that, so I don't think I'd be adding this in. Midfield Breaker. This card is definitely decent, especially with like Prank Kids getting more popular. If you activate this card versus Prank Kids, you know, their Battle Butler actually just doesn't affect you during the main phase. Their Imperms, their Valors, stuff like that just don't affect you. So this card is definitely very interesting, especially against that matchup, but it's mainly to like stop your stuff from being targeted. It dodges like Valor, Imperm, but then it plays into other things. And then Bell, thought about playing this. Again, I might end up just cutting one Valor to play this. I like the number of hand traps I'm playing. And then Twin Twisters, because this card is pretty good versus a lot of decks. You know, Shaddoll, Prank Kids. That makes this card just better than this card. And then, oh wow, I really took the Twin and slid it all the way over there. And then this card has like the same idea as like a Midfield Breaker, as it can just stop a targeting, but it doesn't like. Midfield Breaker only does it during main phase 1, to where this can do it like whenever, and it's like an actual like hand trap that does it. It like stops the card. So definitely all like interesting cards. Figure I'll just like show off the like what this could be. So why not? And then moving on to the side deck, and I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this. I probably should have went over it at the beginning of the video, but a lot of the times having a side deck with a lot of 3-ofs actually just doesn't make sense. You want to build your side deck with your main deck, but crazy enough, how this main deck works, usually, like not usually, but like against like the meta stuff, the side deck actually just like works perfectly. Like with the 3-ofs. I know there's like 2 Nib and a Pank, but like you could kind of like consider this like, you know, a stack of 3. A lot of the times though, side decks have like random 2-ofs, which don't look very good on paper, but after you theorize like the side deck and what are you actually taking out, what are you actually putting in, why are you taking this out, why are you putting this in, it makes a lot of sense to have like the 2 ofs, the 1 ofs, sometimes the 3 ofs, depending like, you know, if it's a bad matchup. Like Thunder Dragon format, having like 3 Droll and Lockbird, even if you were taking out like a low impact hand trap from your main deck to put in the 3rd Droll, it would make sense because you just had to stop your opponent, or you took the L and they were always playing through something like an Ash Blossom. But going on to the side deck, we do have 3 Judgment. I decided to play this over Anti-Spell. This is better against more a variety of matchups. And then also, a lot of people are putting in Twin Twisters right now, and you have Revolt and Anti-Spell, and you flip Anti-Spell during draw phase, they chain twin, you lose your cards. If you have Judgment Revolt, they twin, you chain Judgment, you still have Revolt. Also, Sky Striker is being a lot less popular, so you don't really need like an Anti-Spell in your side deck. I know it's also good versus like the Prank Kids matchup, but so is Judgment. Card's definitely solid versus them. The Drytron matchup, Judgment is not nearly as good as the Anti-Spell would be, but again, the Twin Twisters and stuff like that, those cards are rough. I like Judgment. I have only been on this for like, well, I guess like I'm recording this Wednesday and it's getting posted Friday, so by Friday I've been on this for like a week. Right now I've only been on this for I think like 5 or 6 days, pretty much like a week. Next card, Pank. Card has a lot of, like, it's good against a lot of different matchups. Remember, like, I play on DB with this deck. There's no real life tournaments yet, so like this deck isn't built for like a real life tournament. The deck does change up a little bit for like real life tournaments, but not too much. I am playing against mostly meta on DB. I am pretty high rated. Actually, I don't know like how high rated I am. I think I'm in like the top 125 right now, which isn't like crazy or anything. But I did have to take like a few days off of grinding to record like the LCSs, the LCS day 1, day 2, deck profiles the next day, the remote duels. You know, the remote duel was literally like 9 hours worth of footage. It was so much recording. And then we got Twin Twisters, and also like I'm fixing my sleep schedule, which is why I'm recording this Wednesday and it's coming out Friday, which is another reason why I haven't been playing a lot of rated, because I have been tired a lot. I go to bed, wake up, grind, do what I need to do, go back to bed, wake up, grind, do what I have to do, go back to bed. It's literally just been like non-stop doing that for like days now. So I'm fixing my sleep schedule. And then 3 Twin Twister. This card's very good. I don't play Harpies for the reasons I talked about before. 2 Nib. This card has been getting little bit worse. It's pretty good versus the Drytron deck. I really like this card versus the Drytron deck. It's very good most of the time. As long as you have Nib plus like a low impact hand trap, I find Nib to be very strong. And obviously it's not hard to draw a low impact hand trap, especially when you're playing like, you know, 2 Nib, 3 Droll, and then you're also playing all of these. And like I'm not taking a single one of these out when I'm putting these 5 in versus the Drytron matchup, because I tend to take out, should I? I suppose whatever. I take out a Pepperoni, I take out an Order, which like, oh, you're taking out Order, but like I'm going second. Like I don't want to just like auto lose. And then I take out a Revolt and I take out 2 Cap. And then 3 Droll and Lockbird. This is mainly just for Drytron, but it can also be used versus other matchups. Which is, again, I've thought about changing this to Cycle Reader because a lot of them, like, not a lot of them, every single one of them have changed over to Dragoon. But with how, like, DB rated is, I want Droll, you know, let's add Ignister. There's just a lot of, like, random stuff. But if I was to take this deck to a tournament, 100% Droll and Lockbird would become a Cycle Reader. Like, no doubt in my mind, this card would 1000% be Cycle Reader. So if you do plan on taking this deck to a tournament, definitely make it Cycle Reader. And this is why you gotta watch the whole video. If you just screenshot and dip, you're gonna be like, oh, blah, 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 blah. But you didn't watch it, so haha, joke's on you. And then 3 Contact C. Card's actually just nuts. Mirror Match, nuts. Prank Kids, nuts. Card's crazy. Card's actually crazy. I prefer this card over Lancia. I know Lancia also hits like Virtual World and like other matchups, but Contact C hits the pranks in this matchup, like the mirror match. And I find those matchups to be way more popular than the Virtual World matchup. And then going on to the extra deck, I'm not playing. I just recently cut the Zeus package. If you do want to add that in, what you can cut for that is a Bear Bloom, a Blossom, and an Asa. You can cut those and then go ahead and slap in the rank 2 Cat, Downard, and Zeus. Then I just recently put this card in. This card is not for Contact C. It doesn't work versus Contact C. Everyone's always like, oh, well, you just summon this and it plays around Contact C. But if you're using Contact C on the normal summon, you deserve to get punished because you're supposed to wait until they banish to summon out Blossom or Bear Bloom. If they happen to summon out double Dragon Lords, then whatever. You just don't drop this. If you drop this when they summon this, you're holding it now. But yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about this extra deck. I guess like 2 Bear Bloom, 2 Blossom, a Silver, 3 Omen. These are like the Tri-Brigades. I have it separated by Tri-Brigades, the randoms, and then like the goods, the good goods. And I have like a Synchro separating. But the Bear Blooms, I decided to play 2. The second one's actually been coming up a decent amount, which is why I'm playing like this stuff over the Zeus, not just this, but I think this card's very good at 2. I like it. And then like when you're trying to push for a game, you want to be able to summon this and discard and do that. Then Blossom, no, I just playing 2. You can play 1 again if you want to do the Zeus stuff, but I don't want to do the Zeus stuff, so 2 Blossom. I think like if you do play Zeus, then you gotta cut 1. Silver, gotta play 1 of it. I have tried cutting this card. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. 3 Omen. With Prosperity, you go ahead and you banish one of these a lot. And again, not on Zeus stuff. Not on the Zoo stuff, I meant to say. I do have a Zoo build, but I don't want to show that build off yet. And then Omega. It's just for Gamma if you get to drop it on your turn, which has been coming up less and less because a lot more people are learning how to play around it. But if they only have Ash and you go ahead and Fractal effect, then a lot of the times they're kind of forced to do it. Otherwise, you can go ahead and set up a Revolt with Silver, but you won't have 4 in Graveyard because they'll be ashing the Kit effect, assuming that. Well, again, it depends on like how you do it. It depends on like the rest of your hand. But then Asa, this card, again, not for Contact C. It can be for Contact C like turn 2. This card's also good in the mirror match. And then also like a scenario that's been coming up a decent amount for me is like, but it also doesn't have to be Asa in this situation. It could also be a Lambda if you want to play that. Is where like you normal summon Kit, you link away for Amirage, Kit effect on Nerval effect goes search, Kuraz summon itself out, effect banish, they imperm Veiler you, they stop this, not Gamma, they go ahead and stop this with like one of these. These cards have been getting more popular, and then you go ahead and you link Kuraz and the Amirage into Asa, and now you have the 4 names in graveyard for your Revolt. And then also, if this card gets outed, you can go ahead and search an Earth with 15 or less attack, defense. Oops, my bad. So you can't search this. I wish it was 15 or less attack, because then you could go search Bell, but you wouldn't like play Bell just for that. But you can search out your Kuraz or your Rescue Cat. Usually, you're searching this card out. Rarely are you searching this in that scenario, but it is another option. I've actually never searched this in that scenario. But, may as well know that you can do it. Amirage, standard, you have to play this. I've seen some people try cutting it. Like, they're wild. Like, what are their hands? Do they just open up starter every game? And then, double Dragon Lords, standard, need this card. Card's amazing. Doom Eagle, I did try cutting this card, but I like it. Card comes up in a lot of scenarios. Versus, like, Sky Strikers, card's extremely good. Versus like Virtual World, you can go ahead and put back Shen and Neon. Again, like this card, it's unique. Also, like it's a link 3 to go ahead and get you to access code if you had to go through like Silver turn 1. Appaloosa, nice. Access code, nice. If I do end up cutting this card, it would simply be for the second Appaloosa. I don't really like Lambda. I'm not gonna lie, I really dislike that card, honestly. I might again try out the Zeus package. This deck changes a lot, especially with like how the format changes. Kind of like just other like control decks. How like they change depending on how the format's being played. But I don't really have too much more to say about this deck. I guess if you have like any questions about it, you can comment down below. If it's something that I answered in the video and you commented down below, probably just not gonna answer it since like I've already explained myself with like a decent amount of theory, and not just theory, but like theory, explanation, like real life scenarios, because I play this deck a lot. So you can go ahead and like just watch the video. I already said this at the beginning, so yeah, if you watch to the end, comment down below and say pepperoni is the best-aroni.
More pepperoni than I expected, and that's a good sign.
And with all that being said, the DB Grinder signing off. Wait, we're trying to hit 22k subs by the end of the month. Please subscribe, please. We're trying to hit it. I need like 100 subs a day at this point. Well, on Wednesday, I need like 100 subs a day. It is going to be rough. If you top the YCS, please do a player interview with me. I will pay you and shout out your team or your YouTube channel or whatever. The DB Grinder signing off. Peace. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Bye. Stay happy. Peace.